By gods, we've done it! 13 brave Battanians, 13 mounted warriors come together to fight
For me, to help me quit my job. I hate my job. Alas, not all Calradians have the voice of a
Battanian bard.
But all of our weapons can sing. Once you know the sword song, you'll have a powerful feint at your disposal, one you can use to create openings, break rhythm, and take pieces out of your opponents. This is the filet mignon of feinting, a cut above the usual spam, and best of all, it is quite easy to learn. This sword song is a one-note wonder. Yes, I'm just talking about swinging far enough to make your weapon go whoosh before you cancel the attack with a right click. For your weapon to find its voice, you'll need to cancel the attack just before the moment of impact. Once you hear the whoosh, you can immediately follow up with an attack, or a bash, or a block in the event that your opponent decided to swing through the feint. It might not seem like much, but this technique will give your feints a much higher success rate against Calradia's grizzled veterans. Visually, this feint is almost indistinguishable from a committed swing, and the whoosh really sells it, especially since most fake swings get pulled far sooner, long before their blade songs have been sung. So hop into any game mode, turn up your sound, and practice. You don't need an opponent to get the mechanics down. You'll get instant, undeniable feedback. Either you heard the whoosh or you didn't. It will take some time to get the timing down, but with a little practice, it won't be long before you've got all weapons singing in every direction. Once you've got the basic mechanics sorted, I recommend trial by fire. Get out there, bolster the multiplayer ranks, and try the sword song feint against live opponents. You will fail and you will die aplenty, but you will learn how to trick real people. Tired of getting blindsided by enemy cavalry? Me too. Me too. The reality is that audio cues aren't enough to keep you safe, and they're especially unreliable in a crowded team deathmatch, where allied horsemen gallop all around, making sounds that are indistinguishable from those kicked up by a hard-charging enemy. But what if you could quickly check your blind spot without turning, without exposing yourself, without breaking the shield wall? You can. Hold the tilde key. That's the squiggly line in the top left of most keyboards, even janky old ones like mine, located underneath the escape key. For as long as you do, you unlock free camera movement with the mouse and deactivate turning. With a bit of practice to find the best angle and familiarize yourself with the necessary mouse movement, you can use this to glance over your shoulder and check your blind spot before crossing one of Calradia's many 12-lane super mega cavalry highways. Of course, you can also use this to admire those crispy new boots you spent a week unlocking, 8 loot at a time. And while holding the tilde key does deactivate turning, you're free to do everything else. You can brace, denying front-on cavalry charges while you check the rearview mirror. You can block to stay safe from arrows and attacks. You can move and swing and hack at doors and blockades, or even loose arrows, blind firing while you check the rear. However you choose to use this rear view mirror check, you should always snap back, like you would while checking a blind spot on the road. You wouldn't drag your eyes slowly back to forward facing, taking in everything you see along the way, overwhelming your senses, so don't do it here. Instead, snap back to front facing, releasing the tilde key and making no movement with the mouse until you are forward facing once again. As a final note, it is worth mentioning that the zoom in feature is still fully functional from this position, so if you need a better look at something happening far behind you, just press shift. You're deep in a duel when suddenly you realize you've been had. You've bit on a feint. Oh shit. By the time you've raised your sword to block in one direction, they've already started swinging somewhere else. What do? Keep fighting, brothers and sisters. All hope is not lost. If you see yourself out-feinted and you don't think you can get your block back in time, bash your opponent to reset the exchange. Since you're already blocking in the wrong direction, you only have to press E, and you can bash with all shields and weapons, whether they're single or double-handed. But be warned, if you miss with the rim of your shield, the pommel of your sword, or the haft of your spear, you're just as dead as you were when you were out-feinted. Still, if the opponent has you dead to rights, a desperate, high-risk bash attempt is surely better than nothing. If the bash is successful, you won't be guaranteed a hit. Your opponent will still have time to block in any direction, unlike a kick-to-swing combo, but at the very least, you will have reset the exchange and covered your opening. Kicking is generally better since it allows you to block in all directions, and it can guarantee a follow-up hit, but in this case, the bash is preferable, since you've lost the ability to block anyway, being out-feinted, and because you can turn with the bash to adjust to enemy movement, whereas the kick attacks only in a straight line. Chamber blocking is incredible, but I'll be the first to tell you that it's very tough. Not only do you need impeccable timing, and it changes for every weapon, but your positioning needs to be spot on, with both weapons perfectly lined up, as Lunatris recently highlighted in a short and sweet chamber blocking video. This Parry Riposte technique is similar to the chamber block, but easier and lower risk, lower reward. If successful, this technique lets you deflect the enemy weapon and counter with a guaranteed swing, but not a guaranteed hit. Still, that swing is guaranteed even when you're using a heavy weapon against one of those Imperial micro-dirks. I said dirks. The Parry Riposte is used without a shield, and as the name suggests, it breaks down into two parts, each with their own important detail. First, the parry. Although they use the same inputs, a parry is different from a block. Blocking is passive, you raise your weapon, and somebody hits it. In contrast, a parry is active, you move your weapon into their attack, blocking right at the moment of impact, deflecting their weapon, and knocking them off balance for one fleeting moment. Therein lies your opportunity for a counterswing.
It's easy to tell when you've parried successfully because sparks fly and there's a satisfying scrape.
Blocking, in contrast, produces no sparks and a sad, unfulfilling clink. Next comes the riposte. Any attack will do, really.
As a general rule, side-to-side swings will come out faster than overhead attacks or thrusts, but in this case, it's best to attack from the same direction as you parried.
This will speed up your counterattack, as you won't be wasting any time drawing your sword arm across your body before you start swinging. Instead, you attack straight off the parry, almost as if you were cool enough to chamber block.